Have you ever looked around your living room and wondered, why does it still feel heavy in here? Even after I cleaned, maybe it's not the clutter you can see, but the kind no one talks about, not even the professionals. Most organizing advice, it's built for speed, for big spaces, and for people who can toss things without blinking. But what if your things carry stories? What if your home isn't just full? It's full of memories you're not ready to rush through. Today, I want to share 7 gentle secrets, things most professional organizers skip, but that I've seen make the biggest difference, especially for women in small homes over 60. These aren't about buying bins or folding towels into triangles. They're about lightening your space in a way that feels kind, that feels like you. By the end of this video, I hope you'll feel something even better than tidy. You'll feel relief. You'll feel breath. Sandra lives in a little bungalow near Lake Erie. Her hallway still holds a basket of cassette tapes from when her son was in college radio, though the player's been broken since 2009. Every time she tried to throw them out, something tugged. So instead, she chose one to keep, donated the rest, and framed the tiny playlist he once scribbled on a napkin. I didn't lose him, she said. I just made space to hear him differently. Let's begin with the first secret no one told my mother, but I wish they had. Secret number 1. You don't start with the hard stuff. Somewhere in the house, there's always a drawer that doesn't hurt. A kitchen junk drawer, a cabinet of expired spices, a bathroom shelf full of old lotions. That's the place to begin. Not the attic filled with your late husband's books, not the photo albums of your kids when they still fit in your arms. You see, most people think decluttering means starting with the hardest thing, the emotional boxes, the memory-laden dresses, the things someone you loved once gave you. But the truth is, that's like asking your heart to run a marathon before it's even warmed up. Let me tell you about Margaret, 78, from Iowa. Lives alone now in the same 2-bedroom where she and her husband raised their daughters. When we began, she pointed toward the linen closet and whispered, "My husband's shaving kit is still in there. I haven't touched it since he passed." I nodded gently and said, "Let's leave that for now. Can I show you your kitchen drawer?" We opened it together, plastic forks from takeout, 5 soy sauce packets, 2 can openers. She chuckled. I asked her to pick one thing she didn't need. She chose the cracked measuring spoon. That was our first goodbye. No tears, no trembling, just a quiet release. One item. But something shifted in her shoulders. Her breath deepened. She said, "I didn't know it could feel freeing." I've seen this moment many times. It happens in the bathroom cabinet, behind the garage door, sometimes even inside a tote from Walmart still filled with items someone bought years ago and never used. And I've lived it too. Years ago, after my mother passed, I thought I was ready to sort through her things. I went straight for her closet and broke down. I couldn't even open the first drawer. I sat on the floor, surrounded by silence, until I realized I needed to start with something easier. Her pantry. Just old cans and cereal boxes. That was all I could manage. But that choice to start small saved me from shutting down completely. When you start with the low emotion spaces, you're not avoiding the deep stuff. You're training your muscles. You're building up the trust in yourself that yes, you can let go and still carry love. Decluttering doesn't begin with courage. It begins with kindness to yourself. So no, you don't need to be ready for the hard things today. You just need to be ready to open one drawer, clear one shelf, say goodbye to one thing that doesn't make you feel anything at all. And that, my friend, is how the heart starts to exhale. Let's move gently now to something even more surprising, because the next secret, it changes how we see what's worth keeping at all. Secret number 2. Bins don't equal boundaries. You ever walk into Target for just one thing and walk out with a pretty little bin that promises to solve everything? Beige, stackable, with a label slot in front. You bring it home, fill it with scarves, or candles, or leftover cords, and for a moment it feels like you've done something. But a month later, it's overflowing again. Here's the truth no professional organizer puts on a price tag. Storage isn't the solution, it's a pause button. And in small homes, pause buttons turn into pressure points. I remember Joan from North Carolina, widow, 65. She had 12 labeled bins in her hallway closet: seasonal decor, holiday cards, grandkids' crafts, spare towels in the catch-all, miscellaneous. When I opened that last one, I found birthday candles from the 90s, expired Neosporin, and a tangled charger from a flip phone. She looked at me and said, "But it's all organized, right?" I smiled and gently replied, "It's not about where it lives. It's about whether it still deserves a place in your life." Bins can hide clutter. They can make us feel neat without actually freeing up space. What professional organizers won't always tell you is this: you can't contain your way to peace, especially not when your home is already asking to breathe. I learned this the hard way too. Back in my early 60s, I bought matching bins from Walmart, stacked them under the bed, in the closet, even above the fridge. But instead of clarity, I felt heavier. Every bin whispered, "You still haven't dealt with this." Eventually, I emptied one, just one, and I didn't refill it. I let it go. And the space felt different, not just clearer, but kinder. True boundaries aren't plastic. They're decisions. So the next time you feel the itch to buy another bin, pause. Ask yourself, am I organizing this because I love it, use it, need it, or because I can't yet face letting it go? If it's the second, maybe today's not about buying storage. Maybe it's about trusting yourself enough to release what no longer serves you. All right, friend, take a breath. Because the next secret, it has nothing to do with stuff at all, and everything to do with how you feel in your space. Secret number 3, the heart decides first, not the head. Have you ever stood in the middle of your small living room holding an old pie plate, a wedding invitation, or a sweater that no longer fits, and felt completely torn? Not because it was valuable, not because it was useful, but because it meant something. You told yourself, it's just stuff, but your chest tightened, and suddenly your mind and your heart were in 2 different rooms. Most professional organizers, bless them, will tell you to ask, do I use it? Do I need it? And for younger folks or those in a rush, maybe that's enough. But at our age, that question skips the very core of it, because the truth is, we keep things not because we need them, but because they remind us who we were when we did. Let me tell you about Evelyn. She's 67, lives in a small white house in Missouri, one of those with a deep porch swing and wind chimes that never stop moving. When we sat down to go through her sewing chest, she pulled out a faded piece of calico fabric, just a square, no bigger than a napkin. "I've had this since 1984, she whispered. "I was going to make matching dresses for my girls, but the divorce came. I never finished. I've moved 6 times, and this has come with me each time. Now, if we followed logic, we'd say, toss it. It's unused, unfinished, unnecessary. But that little fabric square, it carried a chapter of Evelyn's life, unspoken, unresolved, but held gently in cotton threads. She wasn't clinging to clutter. She was holding space for grief." So here's the truth most professionals won't say aloud. Decluttering isn't just about removing. It's about recognizing. It's about asking not what an object is, but what it holds. And more importantly, what you're ready to let go of emotionally. That's not something a checklist can answer for you. I remember after Susan passed, I found her recipe cards in the back of the kitchen drawer. Her handwriting was messy, looped, and joyful. She'd always scribble notes like, "Use less nutmeg next time," or "Paul likes this one." I held on to those cards longer than I held on to the dishes, because the cards felt like her. The dishes just didn't. I kept 3, framed one by the stove, gave the rest to the girls. You see, when you let your heart decide first, you make space not just in your home, but in yourself. Not everything needs to go, but not everything needs to stay either. The heart has a way of knowing what still serves you and what simply reminds you of a version of yourself you've already outgrown. So the next time you hold something and feel that ache, that hesitation, pause, close your eyes, ask, is this still part of my now or just a souvenir of my then? Because you deserve a home filled with things that support your life today, not just echo the life you used to live. Letting go isn't forgetting. It's remembering with gentleness and then releasing with love. And friend, that brings us to the next secret. Because no matter how thoughtfully we choose what stays, if we don't set limits on where it lives, we end up boxed in by bins, not surrounded by peace. Let's talk about that next. Secret number 4, energy, not time, is your real resource. Some days, it's not the time you run out of, it's the steam. You look around your small home, maybe with a cup of tea going lukewarm in your hand, and think, I've got the whole afternoon, but somehow I just can't get started. It's not that you're lazy. You're just tired, not always in your body, but in your spirit. And that's the piece professional organizers often overlook. You see, they'll hand you a schedule. Do the living room at 10 a.m., the closet at 2, take a break at 3. But here's the truth they don't say. When you're over 60, your real currency isn't hours. It's energy. Gentle, precious, shifting energy. And when you learn to work with it, not against it, that's when decluttering becomes doable. I once worked with Joanne, 74, who lived in a sun-filled cottage near the Oregon coast. She told me, I used to plan to declutter every Saturday, and every Saturday I'd nap instead. What changed for her wasn't the task, it was the rhythm. We discovered her best hour was just after her second coffee, around 9:30 a.m. That's when she'd turn on her little radio, always set to oldies, and tackle just one drawer. Not a room, not a closet, one. And when her energy dipped, she stopped. No guilt, no pushing through. That drawer still got done. The difference? She wasn't drained. She felt proud. I remember I used to beat myself up for not finishing things. I'd start in the garage, get as far as a bin of old cords, and feel this wave of fog roll in behind my eyes. And I'd think, what's wrong with me? I have the time. But what I've learned and what I want to tell you is this. You can't organize your home with an empty cup. You have to pace your heart, not your clock. One of the simplest shifts, match the task to the energy you actually have, not the energy you wish you had. Got 15 minutes and a bit of focus? Wipe out the fridge shelf. Got a full hour and a favorite playlist? Tackle the bathroom cabinet. Just woke up foggy? Fold socks and hum. That counts too. Because here's the soul of this secret. The point isn't to conquer your home. It's to care for it and yourself in the process. Real progress comes from working with your energy like it's a friend, not a machine. I often say, you don't need to finish everything in one go. You just need to finish one thing with grace. And with that gentle reminder, let's move into something organizers rarely admit. But you may have already felt in your bones. Some clutter lingers not in objects, but in how we speak to them. Let's talk about that next. Secret number 5. You can decide later, but still move forward. Sometimes you pick something up, a scarf, a recipe book, a tiny figurine, and your whole chest tightens. You don't want to keep it, but letting go? That feels too fast, too final. So what do most of us do? We put it right back in the drawer, close it gently, and say nothing's changed. But what if I told you, you don't have to make the big decision right away? That moving forward doesn't always mean deciding now. It just means deciding something.
Even if that something is, I'll revisit this later, but not lose it in the pile. I worked with Margaret, who had lived in her small blue bungalow for nearly 30 years. Her dining room closet held a box of her late husband's cufflinks, little souvenirs from old work trips, Chicago, Tucson, Buffalo. Every time she opened the box, she'd close it again, heart tight. We didn't toss it. We simply made a gentle decisions bin, marked with a soft blue sticky note. Items that needed more time. Not forgotten. Just parked with love. I've done that myself. I once had a drawer of letters from my sister, back when stamps still smelled like glue. I didn't read them all. I didn't shred them either. I just moved them gently into a folder labeled Hold with Care. And that was enough for then. The forward motion wasn't in tossing, it was in honoring the pause. Sometimes the bravest thing isn't deciding today. It's making room to feel tomorrow, and here's what I want you to hold close. Progress isn't about being decisive. It's about being kind to your heart while you move. That means you can keep going, even with a little basket labeled, "Not sure yet." That's not failure. That's wisdom. Not every object needs an answer today, but every object needs acknowledgement. Let's keep going because the next secret is one almost no professional tells you, but it's often the very reason so many women stop midway. Secret number 6. You can ask for help without apologizing. Have you ever stood in front of a shelf that needs clearing and thought, I should be able to handle this myself? Maybe you've even said out loud, I don't want to bother anyone, or whispered, I'm sorry, it's just a mess in here. As if needing support means you've somehow failed. But here's the truth, no one tells you. Accepting help is not weakness, it's wisdom. Carolyn, a retired school librarian in a small Missouri town, had boxes stacked high in her spare room. Books she planned to donate, papers from her late brother's estate, gifts never opened. She'd meant to get to them for years. But every time her daughter offered, Carolyn would brush her off, saying, Oh, you've got your hands full already. What finally shifted things? Her granddaughter, just 19, asked if she could come over, not to work, just to sit and keep her company while she sorted. They lit a cinnamon candle, turned on the old kitchen radio, and went through one drawer together. Just one. By the end of the week, they'd cleared the whole room, laughing, crying, remembering. I remember the first time I asked my nephew to help me sort the garage. I kept apologizing for the dust, the spider webs, the clutter. And he said, Uncle Rob, I'm not here to judge. I'm here because I love you. That stuck with me. Sometimes the hardest part isn't the task. It's letting ourselves be seen in the mess. You don't have to explain why it got this way. You don't owe anyone perfection. And you surely don't have to apologize for being human. Here's a little reminder. Letting someone help you is also giving them a chance to love you in a real way. We all need that sometimes. No permission needed, no apology required. Inviting someone into your clutter doesn't reveal your weakness. It reveals your courage. Let's keep going, because this next secret may be the kindest one yet, especially when your energy feels low, but your heart still wants peace. Secret number 7. You must pause and enjoy the space you create. You clear a corner, you fold the linens just right, the light filters in differently. And then what do you do? Do you pause or do you rush to the next task? So many women I've known, wise, warm, giving women, spend hours tidying, decluttering, making space for peace, and never sit still long enough to feel it. It's like baking a pie and never tasting it. Joanne, a 68-year-old retired nurse from Vermont, spent an entire weekend reorganizing her pantry. She pulled every jar, wiped down each shelf, tossed expired cans. Her whole kitchen smelled like lemon spray and cinnamon. She told me later, I stood there looking at it and my first thought was, what's next? Not even 10 seconds to admire it, not even a breath. But then she caught herself. She brewed a cup of tea, sat at the little bistro table by the window, and just looked. Watched the light bounce off the glass jars. Listened to the silence. Felt something settle inside her. That, my friend, is what this is really about. Years ago, I decluttered the guest room in my old house. I didn't need it for guests anymore. So I cleared the twin bed, boxed the craft supplies, took the old rocking chair out of storage. I made it into a quiet corner just for reading, just for me. I remember walking in the next morning, coffee in hand, and something about that clean space felt like I'd been heard, like I mattered enough to create something soft, something still. I sat for 30 minutes, just sat. No to-do list, no what's next, just me in the quiet. That memory still lives in me. You're not just making room in your home, you're making room in your soul. What's the point of peace if we don't sit down in it? So if you cleared one drawer today, pause. If you let go of one shirt, one photo, one broken thing you've carried too long, pause. Light a candle, make a cup of tea. Breathe in what you've done. Because decluttering isn't just about what you remove, it's about what you make space for. And the moment you finally give yourself permission to enjoy it, let's close together softly. Because this final message is not a trick or secret. It's a truth I hope you carry with you every day.
Take a breath with me here. Let it all settle. Because decluttering isn't about showing off a perfect house. It's not about matching bins or spotless countertops. It's about feeling like you when you walk through your front door. It's about a space that doesn't overwhelm but welcomes. That doesn't echo with shoulds but whispers, "You're home now." You're not doing this to impress anyone. You're doing it so you can sit in your favorite chair without moving a pile first. So your mornings feel clear instead of crowded. So you can open a drawer and smile, not sigh. Your home should feel like a hug from your own life. So what now? Pick just one of the 7 secrets that spoke to you today. Maybe it's letting yourself start small. Maybe it's giving yourself permission to pause and enjoy. Whatever it is, try it this week gently. No pressure, no perfection, just one loving shift. Comment below. Which of these 7 secrets do you wish someone told you sooner? And if you have a friend, someone who's always taking care of others but rarely herself, share this video. She deserves to feel proud of her home again too. Let me leave you with this. You're not just clearing shelves. You're reclaiming a life that fits your spirit today with less noise and more room to simply be.